Over there? Oh, so for the sign-in?
I'm going back. Yeah. So I don't.
Yeah, thanks for the, I got it. There are two different places where it says who's Charlie Chief's responsible.
Okay, good. Yep.
Think
Want
about
your
it.
name over there?
What's that?
Want your name over there? You're over here.
No.
Oh, sorry.
I think we're right. I don't know.
I got him.
I think that's
around.
Once in a while, late at night, I forget who I am, but I don't know.
I'm already mad. You guys got any sedatives? I'm already mad.
Cindy said she's going to sit down there, Troy. She's going to sit down there today.
Jeepers, what a pile.
It's written.
What's that?
I don't like that.
Oh. You got a loud enough voice anyway, so for me, they probably don't need to hear it.
Did you get these?
I don't know if you were in.
My
If you
brother,
didn't,
Steve said he had saved them for me, but okay. If you, these are extra.
there's 5 of them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Come on, I have 3 board packets in front of me.
You got what, Troy?
That's 3 board packets in front of me.
The one that ends on page 127, I think, is the correct one. And I think she had some that had more pages or less pages. And,
That's what I got.
yeah. So if it doesn't have 100. Okay, but he said he's got more than
I
one.
have 3 of them sitting there.
One is your sign. The one with the paper clips, the one you signed.
What's this?
I saw, yeah. Perfect answer.
Right.
Looks like you should stick to
Yeah.
Call the meeting to order, the Griggs County Commission. Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No Cindy in?
What's that?
Where's Cindy going?
She's gonna sit at the back, she said, so that she can monitor the sign-in sheet.
Cindy, can you come up here and sit? You're gonna have to help us with all these documents and stuff. Start with roll call. Dale Peterson. Here. John Wakefield.
Here.
Ron Dahl.
Here.
Or Sean Steffen.
Here.
And Troy's here. Thank you, Cindy.
I'm gonna have to read it too.
Somebody passed.
Debbie's gonna be here.
The next thing on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda for today? Connie, one thing, the folks from the media have asked me when we were gonna talk about the new courthouse, and I told them that we could possibly move it up on the agenda if there's anything. Is there any news from the DES on the grant? We haven't heard anything, so that's still in process, okay? So I don't know how much discussion there will be on that, I guess. Bob was gonna be here too? Yeah. I think what we'll do is we'll bump that up on the agenda when Bob gets here. And I can do that, can I? Other than that, does anybody have any changes? If there are none, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll move to present the agenda as presented.
Been moved by Sean to approve the agenda. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We'll review the minutes from the April 17th board meeting, our commissioners proceedings. Did anybody find anything in the minutes that needs to be corrected?
I'd move to dispense with the reading of the minutes and approve them as written.
Been moved that we dispense with the reading of the commissioners' proceedings from the April 17th and approve them as presented. Is there a second?
I move to second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next thing on the agenda is the monthly office reports. I have the invoices here if anybody has any questions. Any questions of the monthly office reports?
I had one on the sheriff's statement. There's one on the 2014 cops grant. I thought that was finished.
I talked to Bob this morning, and that contract ended in July, and Griggs County reimbursed Griggs County quarterly, so they made the last payment.
Is that from 2013?
$2,638.
That's for his yearly reimbursement.
From 2013 or for
I
2000?
think it's 2013, but you'll have to ask him.
I called Bob and asked him.
Their calendar year runs different.
I think it ran through January. I think that's why it ended up like that.
Their calendar, like your work period runs from July through June.
Okay.
So it might be.
Just a different fiscal year?
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I'd move to accept the monthly reports as presented.
Been moved to accept the monthly reports as presented. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Ron. Is there any further discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Page 31 through 33 in your packet is the monthly bills. Any questions on the bills?
looks like just normal monthly.
And now, so do you want to go to, do part of the election? There's an agreement that has to be signed.
If there aren't any questions on the bills, I guess I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move that we pay the bills as presented.
Been moved by John to approve the bills as presented. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll move the second.
Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we proceed to vote. Dale?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean? Aye. Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Emily isn't here yet, and neither is Jill or Wayne. So we'll go down to elections. Cindy has some stuff for us on that.
We had 1,490 applications go out in the mail, and so far we have mailed out 486 ballots. I figure that may be a little high, I'm not sure, because they don't have any report that I can run, but it seems like we've been really busy. I think the highest we've had is like a little over 600 ballots that we've mailed out, so we'll see what happens. The other thing is there's an agreement, you got it when I emailed it to you last night. The cities had no problem with it, with their email they sent back. If you guys had time to read it, Jamie had no problem with it either. Pages 86 through 88 is 3 pages. And I said if you guys sign this agreement tonight and we're okay with it, then I would email it to each of the cities so they had it for their meeting, I think, on Monday night.
Jamie, this is pretty straightforward. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, you guys are fine to sign it.
You do this every election cycle, apparently.
No. It should have been done a long time ago and it didn't get done. And now, once you sign an agreement, unless there's any changes that you want made, it just goes on from year to year to year to year.
Okay.
It's like the other agreements that if you want to change it, you do it within a certain time period, and
Yep, I see that.
there's supposed to be 3 of them up here. I don't know if they made it or not. Now I'll have to require somebody's. 'Cause I need, no, I guess just one signed.
Two more down there.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we accept the joint election agreement as presented.
Then move that we approve the joint election agreement. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. No, you need another copy. Is that it for that agenda item, Cindy?
Not really, unless you
Okay.
want Jamie to cover the resolution, but I didn't think you want to do it just right yet, do you? Is the resolution ready? opposed to?
I didn't see any changes to make. You know, per the statute, the resolution is suspended, based on the petition. So doing anything else with the resolution, I don't think is necessary. We just need to make sure that the voters are informed of a yes vote means yes for the combination of the office, and a no vote means no for the combination of the office. As far as any language in the resolution, I think the resolution is fine to stay on. But I think, and maybe it should have been run this week, I think the county should pay to run an ad to make sure that people are aware of which way their vote is going to go. I think there may be some confusion. I know there was earlier, and there may be still some confusions amongst the citizens. So I think that would probably be pretty important to do that, and I think it'd be very beneficial.
Isn't there an explanation on the ballot?
There is an explanation on the ballot, but the way the statute read prior to that was that a no vote would mean, I believe prior to that it was reversed. And like I said, the resolution is suspended because of the petition, but I think that it still would probably be beneficial to everybody to clarify it.
Yeah, we have to be careful that we're non-biased on this thing.
Right,
So
right.
for informational purposes only,
Right,
explaining
and I
both
think
sides
it
of
can
it.
just be stated, a yes vote would mean that you're in favor of the combination of the offices, a no vote would mean that you're not in favor of the combining the offices. I think it can be done as simply as that.
Right, and if Ron can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the resolution originally was taken right from the Century Code and used, so I can't imagine why that should have to be amended when we used a standard resolution
Right,
covering that very purpose.
You're right, John, I don't think anything needs to be done in that.
I think the part that was probably confusing was that it would be nullified, the vote for an independent auditor and treasurer is going to be nullified, and then there's going to be a special election if it passes. And I think we can write something unbiased about that, just elaborate.
Yeah, I think something as simple as yes means combine the offices, no means not combine them.
Yeah,
And
and there will be a special election, but,
Yeah, and if you vote yes, there will be a special election.
yeah,
For the office of the combination.
but that just can't be avoided. There was no way to avoid that.
Right.
So we can republish this one, it's supposed to be published twice before the election, so the same resolution, we're gonna publish this one twice before the election?
well, I think Jamie is saying we should publish it with an explanation, a non-biased explanation of it.
Right, I think it's important to inform the voters. We don't want to end up in a situation where individuals sue the county because they weren't aware of what they were voting for.
So the language of it is confusing. I mean, I know what it's supposed to be, and when I read it, it could have been written better.
I definitely, I think so. It's an issue that no one has ever encountered
Right.
in North Dakota before, so it was first impression in the Attorney General's office as well as myself, and it wasn't something I was taking lightly. I worked with 2 different assistant attorney generals for a couple weeks over this, so it was a situation. It's a unique situation that we got ourselves into, but I think an explanation would probably be the best for the community.
Could you compose the explanation and present it to the auditor so we can run it, so that we know that we're non-biased on that?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jamie. Is that it then for the election? Okay. We'll go back to Emily. Hi, Emily.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good, how are
Good.
you? I did have a chance to look at some of the stuff in the tax director's office and see where
Okay.
she was at. She was pretty good and up to date as far as when she left. which was a few months ago. So there is plenty of stuff to do since it's the busy time right now.
Right.
What I can offer you guys, if you're still interested, is at least 2 days a week with hopes of a third, as long as, you know, my appointments and my husband are fine, we'll shoot for 3. So 2 to 3 per week. Plenty of work to keep me busy down there,
Okay.
at least for a few months.
Okay.
And then I'll be having a baby at some point, but if it comes before then and we're caught up, we can revisit at that point what you guys are looking for.
Okay.
As far as pay, I'm not sure what you guys had in mind for that. In Steele County, I was making 2018 when I left, plus benefits. So, of course, like to keep it somewhat similar to that, but see where you guys were at as far as thoughts. And I could start next week as soon as, you know, you guys would like me to.
Do we have the ability to set the salary, Cindy?
You're her boss.
Okay. And so that would be 20 hours, 24 hours a week approximately? Shoot for it and but not hold you to that?
2 to 3 days,
Okay.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Seems acceptable to me.
Yeah, I agree. Does it make a difference on benefits? Does she have to work at least 20 hours a week to receive benefits, or is that a non-issue?
And it's in the policy that you pay proportionally to what they work, as long as their half-time are over.
Okay.
So we can make it a 3/5 position.
And she'd get 3/5 of health insurance if she wanted that. And she'd get 3/5 of retirement
And in the future, we could bump that up to full-time if necessary, adding another job to it.
But at 2/5, you don't get 2/5 retirement, do you?
No.
You get zero, it's
Right.
0 up to 50%, and then it's, okay.
at 2/5, you have the option of paying all of it
Oh,
if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Cindy a little bit about some of that, so I understand all of that. And
Okay, does anybody else have any questions of Emily?
I guess, I mean, I was thinking of making a motion, but as far as the number of hours you work each week, it's gonna vary between 16 and 24, or, yeah, 16 and 24, just based on need, right?
right.
So, okay.
There's plenty of work, so I mean, I will make every effort to shoot for 3.
Okay.
But I just hate to commit to that with you guys in case, you know, next week I have to have an extra appointment for myself or Trevor. I mean, the things change in a matter of a day with him and his chemo and appointments. So mine are pretty scheduled
Okay.
and, you know, knock on wood, nothing happens. That's fine, but his, you know, it's just almost a week by week, sometimes day by day thing. So just trying to be honest
Yep.
up front with you guys is all.
I'd like to make a motion then that we hire Emily at the stated wage of $20.18 an hour, up to a 3/5 position. And we'll leave it at her discretion and revisit this in a couple months. That'd be fine.
That sounds great.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'd move to second.
Seconded by Sean. Any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Dale? Aye. John?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Emily.
Appreciate it.
Welcome.
You'll get an employment contract ready, Cindy?
I've got it well upstairs. If you want to take a 5 to 10 minute recess, I can go get it for on another bid.
Yep. Okay. Talk talk to Cindy and she'll get you an employment contract.
Okay,
Thank you, Emily.
you're welcome, thank you guys.
Thank you. You're gonna what?
Get her stuff.
Okay, we'll move into the weed board meeting.
Do we have to adjourn first, Cindy? Oh, she left, we'll just do it. You guys are technically weed board plus commissioners, so it's but,
Oh, we're having a meeting.
yeah, it takes like 10 minutes usually, but you have to adjourn and then start the weed board meeting, I think, but we'll I should ask her first, but we can go on it.
Isn't like there hasn't been joint boards.
Yeah,
Before.
exactly. It's dual thing, so, I guess what I'm coming in for is just kind of our spring weed board meeting kind of update, just so I can get approval from the weed board to publish some things and figure out how you want to run any cost share assistance programs that we have. In the past, the commission was doing 33% cost share on noxious weed control for non-crop land areas for landowners. In the last legislative session, we had received some funds. We got about $10,745 was available in 2012 and 2013 from the state Department of Ag for weed control, and we utilized $6,127.60 last year to landowners. And what it was an 80-20 match. 80% came from the state, and then the match was 20% from the county. And the producers had to give a 20% land in-kind match. So the producer got 100% of the chemical coverage. And then we, in turn, when we submit our bill, we submitted that extra 20% that we put in. So it basically was 100% cost share for the producer for the chemical. They just had to supply the application and do the application themselves and provide the labor. So just wondering if you would like to do that again. We had our 2013, 2015, I think she put in there the agreement we had with the Department of Ag. And this year we got $19,049.28 in the LAP. And so we have that money available for 2014 growing season now here, and then till June of 2015. So want to know if the weed board wants to use that as our cost share for this year, or if you want to do anything with the 33% funding from the county. Those are all county funds. This is a nice deal because the county gets reimbursed 100% of your costs for the chemicals. So
What do you suggest?
I think the 80-20 is a good deal.
Okay.
So, but I just wanted to make sure you wanted to do that rather than the 33%. Because that had been in the past what had been done, so. And they did fund one last year with 33% funding.
That was an afterthought kind of one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
Came in
one that
late.
had to be approved, they didn't get their paperwork in time, so,
Yeah.
in time, so.
Do you even use all the funds available, or?
We didn't use all the funds the last biennium, and that was only because in 2012, they didn't spend any money. So that 6,000 we spent was all in 2013.
Okay.
So I was able to get out and work with some landowners and different things for some cost share. So I think realistically, we have this whole growing season, and then we'll have till June of next year. We should be able to at least 10 to 15, I'm hoping that we can do, since we did that much in just a few months last year, basically, so.
Is that allocated on a first come, first serve, or as
Nope,
an
that money
on-needed
is-
basis?
That money's set for us, so we have 19,000 to utilize, that 19,000 to utilize. If we're not gonna use it, they'll wanna know kind of next winter how much we've used, because if we're not gonna use it, they'd like to roll it over to another county.
No, I mean as it goes out of the county to the growers.
To
Is
the
that
growers?
is that a first come, first serve basis, or as needed? Is there
It was
priority?
first come, first served.
Right.
That's another part of this. Do you wanna limit the number of acres you wanna cost share to a producer, or that's another question. I know Stutsman County, I think you have a letter in there of what Stutsman County did last year. They, have a maximum of $3,000 that they, per landowner.
Well, based on history, have you run out of funds during?
We haven't in the, the last one we didn't run out. So I'm not sure how many years we've been getting this grant, but I think last year we had to work pretty hard to get the money spent because.
Didn't a bunch of townships use it for ditch spraying or something?
The townships can't utilize it because it has to be a landowner that utilized it, but yes, some landowners came in along the right of ways to help kind of
Okay.
control some, yep.
I thought it
It's a
was-
strictly landowner program, but the landowner, as long as they're using it on non-cropland acres.
Okay.
Well, since it seems like we don't run out of funds, I don't see any need to restrict acres. Or what are your thoughts on that?
No, I think it's great. I mean, the more we can get out there and treat these acres, it's strictly for noxious weed control, and it's not non-cropland acres. You get a little more limited, so you might as well get it out there. It's good for guys' pastures and things like that. It's good cost share. Leafy spurge is still an issue in the county, so that's.
Do you need a motion?
Yeah, probably we should do a motion that you're gonna do the 20, or the 80-20 versus and not do the 33%.
Okay.
I'd move that the county weed board do the 80-20 cost share.
Been moved that the county participate in the 80-20 cost share for landowners in 2014. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll
move to second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Are you taking minutes a little bit?
I can. Is she taping it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna write down Dale moved and
Yep.
Sean seconded.
The other items are just
Vice
whether or
versa.
not I have to put the official notice for noxious weed control in the paper, of course. And if the county wishes to add any noxious weeds from the state list, typically we've been just following the state noxious weed list. So unless there's a troublesome weed that's not on the noxious weed list, but most of them are covered on here, so. I don't think we need a motion on that, but just to let you know that that's kind of what we've done in the past, and as long as you're okay, that's what we're supposed to do. Then, of course, we'll be putting notices in for the noxious weed people, the cutting and haying of ditches, and we put one in there for that, just to notify the producers that are cutting hay that, some of the chemicals that are sprayed on the regulators. You should check to make sure that some of them have restrictions for when you can hay. So, other than that, I think we're good, but Cindy we need to do the bid letting. That was the main thing why I came up, is because in the past we've used right of way to do all of the county spraying, the road ditches and things. We did get one bid in. Do you have that?
It is from right away.
Is it? Well, I don't
That's,
think
the letter says right away. That's the only one I've got.
no, you have another big packet one.
These are road.
Is that road?
This is gravel and this is
No,
gravel.
it's a big packet. Right there, two down, that one. Is that's not the one.
This is construction.
There it is,
This one?
Knife River, isn't that
Okay, then you
spraying?
must have two.
That's for weed, isn't it?
I thought it was construction. What does it say on the bottom?
CNOA 2003-58.
58?
Yeah.
That's one of our projects.
That's one
That's-
of yours.
yeah, so it's just
Okay,
right away.
You didn't get,
No, it was just right
Okay,
away.
good, okay. I don't know, they come into the auditor's office, so I'm kind of.
I didn't think Knife River Materials sprayed weed. So I just open it or what?
You can read it out if you want.
I don't think it's a bid though.
Isn't it a bid?
It's a ballot application.
Oh, no. Then we didn't get any bids.
Then we didn't get any bids?
No
Yeah, they
bids.
come into her office, so I'm kind of,
At least they can vote.
yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't think Right Away was doing
I
bids.
was expecting
thought-
a bid from them,
Yeah,
so.
no, so we have no bids then if that wasn't, if you didn't get any bids in. Yep. So there we have to try to figure out what we want to do, because Right Away isn't bidding this year because they have too much on their plate, they said, and they're not bidding in Steele County either, so they're just kind of getting out of the township and the counties spraying because they're so busy with the roads and in the bigger company stuff with the Northern Railroad is taking up most of their time. So we have to kind of figure out what the county wants to do as far as letting more bids, or should I start checking around to see if there's people that are interested in bidding? Because
Does Nolan, he doesn't do that anymore?
I'm not sure if he would take on that big a project. I
Maybe not.
don't know. Last year, they didn't get a lot done because, like I said, they were pretty busy, and they did like a third of what I had given them, so to do. So they were kind of limited in their time, so that's why they chose not to bid this year. Because I called them today and said, "Are you submitting?" And
I don't know who else locally does that kind of work. I suppose you could call around to some other counties.
yeah, I talked with Steele today, and they're looking into it too, and I think Trail's going to be looking as well because a lot of they did work for both of those counties right away.
But I mean, somebody that they didn't work for, find out who they use, Foster or Eddie or,
Mike Munson from Glenfield does, I know the eastern side of Foster.
Okay.
I think he would probably be pretty good at it. He's pretty on top of things.
Yeah, Steele County had their bids closed yesterday, and they didn't get any bids either.
Do you know who Steele County utilized last year? Because it wasn't
Right away, it was, yeah.
It wasn't Right Away.
It wasn't Right Away. Oh, I think she did say that they've used them in the past, but the ones that they used last year, she wasn't recommending.
I just saw them on 2025.
Oh, yeah, other than, yeah, they have used them in the past, but Right Away said they're the ones that told me they weren't bidding on that. And I did talk with Alicia, and she said that the ones they used last year, they wouldn't recommend to us.
Okay.
But either way, if we do contact a company, we just have to contact them and make sure that they submit a bid. We
Yes.
can't,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it has to be done in the bid process
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
so why don't we put notice in the publications that we are?
Put it out some more. We did put
Right.
it in the paper twice, but we can maybe try to get it out in a few more papers, not just the Courier,
Yeah.
and if that's.
And then you could certainly contact the
Contact
different,
some of these.
and tell them that we are putting it out on bids.
And the way we did it with Right of Way is we paid them by the hour, and then we paid for the chemical costs. So that's probably how we want it. Is that how we bid it out? I think too, Cindy, was by the hour.
Yeah.
And the cost of chemicals. So yeah, I will check into that since we're getting closer into the season. We need to.
right, I don't know who does Nelson.
The county outfit, I think the county does it.
Yeah, the county
Because,
does.
yep, because I know that their weed control officer is the road superintendent, so.
Is this just county right
These
away?
are just county right away.
Not
We don't do
township, right?
townships
Yeah.
anymore. Townships contract themselves now.
Right.
Right.
They did in the past, but we chose to, as a county, to just let them handle their own.
Sure.
And then you're in charge of making sure they hold the correct certification for right away and
Well,
pesticide.
yeah, right away, they have all the
Yep,
correct
yep.
certification things. They have to turn that into us
Yep.
when they do that. So, yep. So,
Okay.
yeah, we would check those things out before we, and they also have to hold certain kinds of insurance and
Mhm.
that type, yeah, so, yep. It was very convenient when we had right of way,
Right.
so I should look into that. I think that's it. Cindy, did you have anything more? The secretary report? No. Oh, I was gonna mention too that if, you get calls from people with issues, please make sure you can forward them in to Cindy or I, and we can take care of that for you.
Okay. Is there anything else for the weed board? Well, if Jill doesn't have anything else, I guess I would entertain a motion to adjourn the weed board meeting.
I'd move to adjourn the weed board meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Weed board meeting adjourned, and we'll reconvene the county commissioners meeting that we didn't.
Did you have to
Recess.
sign it, Chief?
Yeah, I do.
What's that? Wayne?
What page is it? Page 90?
With Wayne, here's your
Oh.
bid for this project here.
Okay.
That is your bid for gravel.
Okay.
Well, the bid openings aren't open until 2 o'clock for the Sutton project, so we'll wait with that, but there's a few other things that we have to get wrapped up before that. I think after that last time when we approved that Finley Engineering for the fiber optic up in Nelson County, comes in Briggs. There was another portion that was overlooked, I guess. I think that's probably in your folder. It's kind of the northeast central part of Briggs County, up where like Toasted and Oslickson, I think. Further county, the fiber optic line from Nelson County. And I see no problem. I said in the email, responded that I would watch over that portion too with the roads and stuff.
This is a release, right?
Pardon?
This is a release.
No, this isn't a release, this is, they want permission to be able to go into a buried cable in the county.
Okay.
It's another grant that isn't put in the budget.
They're gonna bury it on the right of way again, that's why we're.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
And they'll probably cross our road.
Right.
I know.
Map of it.
That's an additional 2 miles, is that what it is? Or?
I don't know. I don't remember how many miles it is, but it's,
Yeah, it looks like this, one section was 2 miles.
2 miles along.
2 miles.
And then the other
Along
one,
County Road 35, right from the correction line south
south on
to the
15.
Red Willow corner there.
Yeah, 35 is in Dark County Road. County Road 15. Anyway, it just has to be signed by, county auditor and chairman. And the commissioners have request that to be signed, I guess.
yeah, if you don't have any problems with it, I'll move that we approve this
It'd be the
permit.
same type of deal as that other part that we
Yeah,
approved before
so-
in one. Yeah.
I'll move that we approve the permit for the application or
Been moved that we approve this request by North Dakota Telephone and Finley Engineering to install additional fiber optic cable in Griggs County. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll move the second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Also, there is a contract and contract bond for the chip seal that we approved, the bid for the chip seal for Morris Seal Coat and Trucking, and now this is their contract bond contract. And that has to be signed by the auditor, chairman. That has to be signed,
By
should have
the,
been signed before.
by the state's attorney and the chairman.
Yeah, one page.
This has already been approved, right?
We approved the bid for it, and we sent that back to the state saying that we had approved, accepted the bid. And, but now this is so that the company has bond and,
Jamie, have you?
I haven't, I was just trying to find the email on my phone with the agenda on it. What page is that on?
That's the one I sent you yesterday.
I did send the, when I got the email, I sent it to you, and I also bought a copy of it to you.
Okay, no, I did look at those then.
Bookkeeper.
Okay. I'm fine with them, so we'll sign them.
I think the state's attorney got a signature line there also.
Yep.
I guess I'd request that would be signed.
So we're just accepting the bond, is that what we're doing?
Letter from the North
federal-
Dakota local government says, here's the contract bond from the contractor. Please sign the contract. Have it signed by the chairperson, county commissioners, the state's attorney. And as soon as the contract bond is signed, return the original blue copies along with the contractor's certificate of liability insurance and the fuel cost adjustment. There's several different forms.
Okay.
I move that we sign both the contract and the contract bond.
Been moved by Ron that we sign the contract and the contract bond. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by John. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Just a note, a while back, we did send in a request to get reimbursed for engineering. And we did receive that, it was deposited in the treasurer's office. And I had them put it back into the federal aid portion of the budget. The 100% was $63,975. They were reimbursed for $57,577.51. See, also today we have gravel bid opening. Gravel bids. There is no set time for that. If you want to open them up.
two bids, is that,
I think we only received two, I haven't seen it, I know
Okay.
two companies contacted me.
do you wanna look at them, or? This one is from Hoyt's, this one is from Gilbertson.
Go ahead, come back, right here.
Okay.
So we can compare them. Crushed gravel, one inch screen. Okay, I can, hauling there 28 cents across the board. 30 for the first 3 miles.
Media must be getting bored.
The other company asked me that bid.
Starve them out.
I don't know, I talked to, I can explain a little bit. I talked to Katie White Incorporated of Kalna. They have a gravel pit, but it's located 14 miles north of Kenry. And so that's the only pit they have available. I said, would you be able to go other places? Well, they didn't think they had time this year to put up any gravel anywhere else, because they had a couple 100,000 yards or something like that that you'd be putting up. And so I imagine this price then is probably out of their pit. We'd have to find out for sure.
Okay.
And Gilbertson,
So the Gilbertsons are a little higher, but the mileage is gonna get us if we go that way.
right, if they only have one pit.
Right.
But the comparable 1-inch size screen, Gilbertson is $250, and Hoyt is $275.
Do you need all those products, or is that the primary one?
Well, primarily we use the crushed. The 1-inch size is the preferred one, because there's still some bigger chunks that go through the screen because it's a square hole. But in the past, we've used screen we did last year because it's cheaper. Crushing is $350. Crushing here is $295, so they're cheaper in there. Crushing. But are they going to have gravel available other than the 14 miles north of Kenry?
Right.
Would be the.
So you need.
So I think we can accept both bids.
Okay.
And as far as hauling, they would probably have to meet the lowest price as far as hauling. If Gilbertsons were to haul for us, they would have to haul it for 28 cents. Because that's the lowest bid on the hauling price. Isn't very often we do, but you know, in order to get more miles done, you may have to hire a contractor to gravel someplace.
Well, did they both bid on the hauling price, or just
Both
one?
did. Hoyt is 28 cents, $1.30 for the first 3 miles, where Gilbertson's $2, and then 35 cents per mile extra over that for Gilbertson, and 28 cents a mile for Hoyt.
Because we have to accept their bid as submitted, don't we? I mean, we can't tell them to do it for another price.
Well, if they want to haul it, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, we
Yeah.
we should just accept the low bid and reject the second bid, it seems like,
Yeah, the one's lower in one and higher in the other.
if it's possible.
Unless we can get in to meet this bid. the low bid.
Yeah, I'm always nervous about asking somebody who's not the low bidder to lower your bid in order to be low.
No,
That-
but they're,
Yeah, but they're
Gilbertsons are lower on the gravel price and a little higher on the mileage.
Okay.
on the screening part, but
So
the other one's
there's not a clear-cut winner here.
No, there isn't, I know.
How did you ask for the bids, Wayne? What, yeah.
well, the bids are just presented on a sheet.
Right.
And if they can meet those bids, then they're supposed to fill out the line.
Right. Don't you think the correct way to do this is to use last year's product used and mileage traveled and let them bid that so everybody's bidding off of the same schedule?
Well,
Because,
this is on any new product that's put up.
no, use last year as an example. So say we hauled X amount of tons,
Oh.
40 miles, we make them bid per that scenario, so then you're assured that you get the same, the bids are equal then, because you're bidding them on an equal job.
Yeah. See, the reason we don't bid a quantity per se is because we don't know how much.
No, you don't have to use the
Yeah.
quantity, you're using that as the guideline for who has the lowest bid.
Yeah, just to
Yeah, but
determine
we
the low
don't,
bid.
normally we don't even use them to haul.
Right.
You know, we just get them to put the product up and the county hauls it.
But under this scenario, how do you determine who's the low bid? When you have a low bid here
Well,
and
that's
you
where
have a low
you
bid
have to
here,
accept both bids.
accept both, and then you'll use them as needed where applicable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you can reject any bids. The commissioners have the right to reject.
Any
In your
and all
options,
bids. But if the county's gonna drive 14 miles north of McHenry to gravel a road down by Dales,
Oh,
they're not gonna
absolutely.
get anything done.
Then they would take the other bid, yeah.
I think that's what we'd have to do. If we're closest to the other pit, then we'd get out of there. If we're down here, I mean, if there's
Whatever.
gravel put up down here.
Closest
by-
proximity.
Yeah, because that's what's, the biggest cost of the graveling gets to be the hauling.
Yep.
So I entertain a motion to accept both bids
Okay.
and use them where applicable.
Wayne is recommending that we accept both gravel bids due to the locations of their respective pits. Does anybody care to make a motion to that effect?
Yeah, I'll move that we accept both bids and Wayne uses judgment on which one's gonna be lowest based on location.
Thank you, Ron. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Seconded by John. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Dale?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carried.
It is 2:00.
Yep.
Yes. I have with me today Sean Mayfield, representative from KLJ.
Sean?
We probably would like to have Jamie open.
We're asking for the bond, and that's, those items you want to open, or do you want me to go through?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we take a 10-minute recess so you guys can coordinate, and then we'll come back.
It's been moved that we take a 10-minute recess. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Yeah. We tried doing that one. Is anything gonna happen this discussion with?
There was never anything on the
Yeah,
agenda.
so-
The only reason that I know that you guys are here is because
If I don't answer,
contractor called from the station. there was never, as far as I can, if you're, you can ask Troy, I don't think there's nothing on the agenda for this, is there?
For what?
For why these guys are here.
No, I'm just.
Right, so, yeah, no, he just asked if there was something coming up, and I don't think there is.
I really don't think we have anything to give.
None of the principals concerned are even here. The construction managers are here. No one's here. Somebody
I
cried
think the
wolf.
fact that there was a commissioners meeting today and that somebody, apparently one of the subcontractors talked to somebody in the news media it may be a coincidence because it was never even,
It's not on the agenda.
no, it's not on the agenda.
No, you would probably have to add that to your agenda if you're.
But there's
if you have
nobody,
thoughts.
there's no one here to add it to. The principals involved aren't here. The building authority, the construction manager, the Agassiz, the president of Agassiz who made the allegation, they're not here.
The architect's not here, the
Yeah.
general contractor isn't here, I don't think. I haven't seen anybody. I don't.
So we were as befuddled as anybody when all of a sudden everybody showed up because there's nothing on the agenda to cover.
Well, if we can get just that comment, that would be great.
What comment?
Thank you for.
Just what you guys know.
Oh.
You don't really know.
John, you want to go 3 times?
No, go ahead.
I don't think there's an issue. It's not our bill to pay it.
They shall construct pretty soon somebody's gonna get that.
Little boy that cried wolf.
She corrected that as we go.
He's the one that's
I heard that.
I think he's owed around $9,000. There's 170.
Yeah, somebody called me.
What's up?
As far as.
He should have known it washer, but he doesn't. Go talk to construction. Yeah.
I don't know exactly. The building authority
Not a huge fan of not a huge fan of all last minute meetings were much.
I got your email, your latest one.
Oh, okay, that's. It was slanted a little against me, but that's fine.
What's that?
I said it was slanted a little.
Yeah,
but
well,
that's fine.
Yes, it was, right.
I didn't get the minutes. I got it. Crap, I better read it.
But you can bring it up. You can bring it up next meeting, or you can bring it, we could open it up, we could, and then we come up now.
Well,
Yeah, why don't we do that? Come by corn yet? No one need hose and try to get across from us. Yes, Dad said he was washed. It was just wet.
You just open your sieve a little and you can see it while you're commenting.
I seeded some of it last fall that way.
Did you? Get done.
It was about 13 acres left, and it was, I was taking it right down to the ground, so I could, and drop it so I could bale it. But you look over there and there was more corn, and it just was covered,
Cows.
It's all fenced, so send the cows out there. But cows didn't get out there. Geese were out there this spring, they just gobbling it up.
God, I had to laugh yesterday, come by out there in Laverne where they piled corn there. There was geese landing right by the steel elevator.
I never made it telling them, but they said they were 400 or 500 years. They were telling them,
Too much corn.
Too much corn. Johnson's have a big pile of their beds. If that's watching it gross.
Ethan McHenry had to go through there a couple times this winter, and those trees in the southeast corner of town, I was looking, Jesus Christ, there's deer. More people, there's more deer than people.
That's what they said about Tallinn too.
The building authority is a nonprofit corporation set up for the sole purpose of selling bonds.
I found one time I did some checking with PERS.
Fund this
I don't
project.
think they ever checked them.
Oh.
I talked to them.
Made a personal call.
Yeah, we had a real discussion over there. They always set up, you didn't have a real discussion, should have been sending. Just little stuff like that. It's not a big deal, but it takes time.
Yeah, it does.
It shouldn't be taking time.
Stuff you shouldn't have to take time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, so that, and then just as long
Looks like May's a better calving month than April again.
It doesn't look like a very good growing one.
We got everything, we just need heat.
Sure, yeah, it's nice and wet. We just got started calving, so hopefully it's.
Oh, yeah, I've had a few.
There's a few.
So we don't.
2 sets of live twins, a set of dead triplets, and 3 more calves.
Got a set of triplets?
Yeah.
Were they about that big?
No, they were 60, 70 pounds.
All three of them?
Well, 2 years ago I had a live set of triplets, and all survived.
Wow.
Absolutely. They were at.
Yeah, I got a bottle calf. Mother hated one of her
They were at.
twins.
Yeah.
Almost the same
More like a pet dog. He falls all over the yard. Dwight let him in the shed the other day. Kept chewing on his leg around. He couldn't get nothing. He had to go out. Come on.
Surprising, he never really do too good along with that one. I mean, it's not like they're being raised by a real dog. We have sheep.
This one's grown pretty well. We've been
Is it?
feeding them 3 times a day. So just morning and night.
Yeah, our lambs, I mean, we're really not associated with them. You know, they were human babies or something. Didn't work very good.
We went and got him a big, it's called calf crunch. It's kind of like granola. We thought that was pretty good. Stuff.
It does taste good. I eat that.
It's just like granola.
If you put milk on it, it would be.
It's got molasses and everything. No crunchies. Yeah.
Yeah, they will. A lot of times they pick through, they'll leave those little pieces, yeah, they don't like that. Just pick through and take the good stuff. It's a desk.
Oh. Ouch, this one isn't, I don't think. Liquidy, I mean, just facing the other direction.
Oh, yeah. They're still cruising along, up by somebody. Oh.
They're probably house chickens.
With the cackle she's got, she can call them pretty good at that.
Who's that?
And wool. Yeah.
Okay, Sandra goes through and you have Johnny's walking. Don't you still have to have something like this in place? And that's what has to get published, doesn't it? That's why I brought it up.
The resolution is The one has to be published. That's what the initial resolution is about.
And that's null and void. That's been set aside.
This one's been set aside, but that's why I brought it up. Don't you have to have another one?
What do you think I
Because
should?
that's what his.
No, because no, what'll happen is, if they vote to approve it, then the resolution goes back into effect. If they vote to leave them separate, the resolution is gone, it is null and void.
Okay, now, this is the fund line payment.
No, that, no.
Okay.
It's just to combine the offices, yes or no. I don't,
This part of it, yes, but down here, it says, this is what was signed and published.
Well, it shouldn't have been, it was just, the part about your retirement, it can't be a portion of this. If that's what was published, then that was done wrong.
no, I don't think it was published, your retirement wasn't published.
No, it shouldn't have been.
I'll have to read through it, because I thought in here, I read that it was upon my retirement.
No, that's what you and Connie took that out, we took that out.
It's out of it.
Oh, it has to be, because that's a non-play, that doesn't make
The
it.
resolution, just like the century.
Right, the resolution was taken from the century code.
No, this part, yes, but not this part.
Well, this is the only part that should have been published. This is a non-factor in any of this. Your retirement, how the transition goes, it doesn't make any difference. That's can't be part of this.
Well, I think the entire resolution was published.
Right.
But this part didn't mention the retirement. It was just explain how it was going to work. You know, the duties of the auditor.
Says it right here.
Yep, is that what was in the paper? If it
Yes,
was,
that was
that was
what
wrong
was.
then, because we okayed the resolution in the minutes that didn't have that part of it in there, because,
That was just an explanation why.
right, need to get the minutes for when we okayed the resolution and publish the correct resolution.
Well, that's why you can do that today, is they can make a motion to do this resolution. I'm not trying to be.
No, I know that, but are you sure that this whole thing got published
That
in
whole thing
paper?
got published twice in the paper, cost us an arm and a leg.
Well, we better check on that. Let's have Jamie look it over and see what needs to take place.
That one is the preliminary one, I think I sent him the signed one. Or no, that's the minutes, so that's gotta be the one.
Guess we're having a private meeting back here. That's not quite right.
Just for me?
It's not open in here. You have it open. I had open one, so I don't think it's that one. What is this for?
Call the meeting to order. 2:15 PM. Do we all have a score sheet here? Is that what these are?
Yeah, just so you can know.
Okay. And somebody's gonna open them and read the amount. Okay.
First one we opened was Knife River. The total bid for the project is $1,736,152.78.
Were there any addenda to be acknowledged?
There are not, and They did have their license and bid bond.
Okay.
Next is Mayo Construction. Contractor's license and bid bond are attached.
Mayo is 1,677,333.41. 1,677,333.41.
Next is Strata Corporation. They have their bond and their contractor's license.
Strata Corporation, 1,991,431.89.
Last bid we have is Central Specialties. So both their contractor license and bid bond attached.
Central Specialties, 1,955,183.84.
What we'll do at this point is we'll take the bids back and check all the math, make sure that everything is appropriate and correct. And so then we will bring that back to the next commission meeting for you to make a decision on award. So, apparent low bidder is Mayo Construction at this point.
This figure you have at the bottom was your estimated cost of the project?
It is the estimated cost, yes.
Pretty good estimate.
Especially if you give them the estimate first before they bid it.
What's that?
Give them the estimate
Yeah.
before they bid it. It works pretty good.
You got one and keep score.
That's what that was for.
Are there any questions at this point?
No? Anybody else have any
No.
questions?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have the engineering contract for chip seal and the overlay, if we go ahead with that, which we will.
The chip seal with Morris seal coat, this would be for construction engineering. The contract I have is for $33,200. That would be construction engineering throughout the project for those.
It's the chip seal.
You just got one bid for the chip seal?
Now, that went through a state bid.
Oh, okay.
And there was 3 bidders. Morris seal coat was the low bid on that.
Oh, okay.
So I do have those bids too.
That's good.
Now, were they supposed to sign something on that?
If you need to make a motion to accept our contract for the construction engineering. There were 3 bids on, Morris seal coat was low bid at $299,000. And, well, there's 2 bids. Asphalt Surface Technologies was at $327,000, and our estimate was at $303,000.
What did you just read though? Chip seal for 33,000, or did I misunderstand that?
The engineering part of it was
The engineering,
$33,000.
the actual contract for Morris seal coat was $299,699.
We don't enter into a contract for the engineering before the engineering is done? Or hasn't it been done?
This is for construction, overseeing construction of the seal coat.
I see.
The design is done, that's all been taken care of. Now we would be moving into the construction portion of the project. And we've been contacted by them. They are looking to start soon, as soon as possible, load restrictions and such, so that most likely in June. That's what they'll be looking at doing.
But are you looking for a contract with chip seal for that $33,000?
KLJ.
Yes, the construction engineering with KLJ, so that we can oversee the
Okay.
construction for you.
All right.
And if you want to motion that first, or go on to the other one?
You probably want to do them separately, 2 separate projects.
You're looking for a motion to accept the $33,000 bid. Okay, I move that we accept the
Well, it's not really a bid.
proposal.
It's an estimate. How do the engineering services for the county get selected now? That's why I'm feeling a little ignorant there.
In this case, this contract would be 100% county funds, so there is no formal proposal process. You can just hire someone to do the construction engineering on it. We were involved in the design, and moving forward, we can work with the construction on it as well, since we did the plans. And how this contract is set up is based on hourly rates. So it's not up, it's an hourly rate up to a maximum of $33,200. So
Okay,
you're only getting
good.
billed for the amount of hours and time
Yeah,
that we
I'm
have
glad to
into
hear
it.
that. Okay. So I move that we accept the proposal up to that maximum of $33,000, whatever,
$33,200.
$200 for the engineering.
Construction engine and engineering.
The engineering is done.
It is construction engineering. It would be the observation of the project. after it's being
From
built.
KLJ.
Okay.
Yep. Be physically out at the project, you know, and,
Yeah.
put the oil down, chips down, packing, whatever.
The project number for that is SC-2000, parenthetical 014.
Ron has moved that we accept KLJ's proposal for construction engineering and overseeing the chip seal project. Is there a second to that motion?
I'd move to second.
Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Dale?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Ron,
Aye.
Sean,
Aye.
Troy votes aye, motion carried.
I was just surprised that we qualified some bids back.
They did bid it. Oh, but his.
For the engineering
For the engineering. Yeah,
When you use county funds, you're not required to go through a proposal process.
I did. What do you? Okay, you got one more?
I have a contract for construction engineering on the project that was just bid as well. And this construction would be in acceptance of that project moving forward. I just want to present it at this time. Once the project is actually awarded, we can come back and actually make a motion to approve that if such. This, with it being House bill funded, is reimbursed at 90%. So I don't think we're gonna do a formal presentation of this contract, but our estimated cost for that one is $162,000. That is for overseeing construction of the paving job as well as the box culvert installation as well.
Okay, that was on what again?
That's the Sutton Road.
Sutton Road, yeah.
Yep, for construction engineering. I just wanted to make you aware of that once the bids are awarded, then we can move into construction engineering on that as well.
Okay, Gretchen, did you have a question?
Well, I'm just kind of curious. I just want to ask a question. Renaissance Engineering, we've been in the county since 1998, and that is our job. We do construction engineering. And I'm just wondering why we're not aware of these bids going out, or these proposals, whatever you want to call it.
It was published in the paper.
Was it?
Yeah, it was.
So, okay, then that's our fault.
Well, that was kind of what I was asking, kind of the same question, but
Yeah.
not very well.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
The
I
bid for
just
the
did
engineer
not
was
see
in the
it.
paper?
I'm pretty sure it was, because she gave it to me and I sent it to the paper and Sherry was supposed to publish it.
The questions for the House bill funded projects would be, because those required, because there was reimbursement by the state, so you had to follow that. If
Not
it's-
these, but it was the
But
other
I think
one that
that
he opened bids on. 'cause
We're
it was
supposed to
in the
get,
paper.
we're supposed to get bids by the North Dakota Century Code for public funds. I mean, the county funds are public funds too.
But I think we need to back up and we need to verify that this
I
actually
did
was,
ask,
actually was published in the paper.
I did ask the owner of the Renaissance Engineering, why he didn't put in some bids. He had said, well, we don't get them anyway. We don't get the projects anyway, but.
Well, nevertheless, we need to
So-
verify that this, that we did follow the rules and this was
Yeah.
published in the paper, so can we,
How many of those affidavits I just gave you?
Okay, the only one that got published was the first one. I don't know about these last two that he's opening.
And if they weren't published,
Well-
I wouldn't be comfortable saying that we should accept the bids.
absolutely?
The contract, I mean, the bid, it was published in the paper advertising for bids on the projects.
Go-
Okay.
well,
That
well,
first
we
one.
we need to see that. We need to actually see that it was published in the paper before we proceed forward on this, just someone.
The work or the engineering?
Yeah,
What about the engineering?
I don't know.
That's, I just don't wanna do something.
But the thing is,
that
here
we're-
is some engineers that went through all this work to set up getting the funding from the House Bill 1358. They were along with us all the way from the beginning. To put the proposals together, to put the proposed projects for the future. And that was started way back. That wasn't the actual bids weren't done at that time, but they were working.
But
You know.
there's no room in a public system for favoritism. You can't have that. So it has to be done according to the guidelines set forth. And if that hasn't been done, we need to back it up and make sure it's done correctly. It's just plain and simple. That is what the public demands, that's what the law demands, that's what everybody should expect. So if we haven't done this correctly, we need to back up and do it correctly. So we'll need verification that everything was published and announced as it's supposed to be, and right from the start of this thing. We can't move forward and then be accused of plain favoritism.
What about your last motion then?
Well, I can move to rescind it if you want, Troy, until we get the evidence that it was done correctly. Is that what we should do?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Okay. When do you have to know on this $33,000 bid?
Well, they're gonna start work in a month.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to know by the next commission meeting if we can move forward.
Okay. I'm just saying that maybe I should move to rescind my motion until we have proof that it was done correctly from Jamie and that all of the advertising was done.
Okay.
So I will move to rescind my motion until Jamie can check that it was advertised correctly.
Okay, Ron has moved to rescind his previous motion. Is there a second to his motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by John. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Dale?
Aye.
John? Ron?
Aye.
Ron? Sean? Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Sorry I didn't ask the question clearly enough to give an answer before we voted on that. Jamie, are you on task on that?
I'll get with Cindy. See if we can find out the or find the paper.
Yeah.
Like I said, the only thing that got published was that first set that they opened. I don't know about, you'd have to talk to.
Well, that stuff should have been probably published a year ago. Because has been something that's been going on since
Then you'd have to talk to Wayne.
the
No.
engineering stuff has been going on since last fall.
Talk to me.
We're fairly new to this business, Mr. Engineer. How does the selection process work for a public entity and an engineering firm? Is it bid on an annual basis, or is it bid on an hourly basis and you just do what you need to do for the county, or how?
There is a 2-year agreement, yes, in place, but these are specific items that require specific contracts. I was not aware that there is a requirement, if it's strictly county funds, that you had to submit a formal proposal process for that. I know if there's state funds or federal money involved, yes, you have to do that.
To my knowledge, there's no designation between public funds. I mean, public funds are public funds. As far as I understand it, I mean, that'll be for Jamie to decide, but public funds are just that. And it doesn't matter if I'm a federal taxpayer or a county taxpayer.
But there might be something in the relationship between the county and an engineering firm. I mean, you can't hire engineering firm A to do this mile and B to do this mile. In that 2-year agreement, does that encompass more than just, I mean, the 2-year agreement must be in agreement to something. You can't, it doesn't seem logical that you bid every project during that 2 years.
Well, I think, what was the 2-year agreement project specific?
It was not.
So it was overall a general agreement for all engineering for the county. So then it's possible that
So is that bid on an hourly basis then? I mean, how do you select the engineering firm, Wayne?
Well, we only received one, that I know, that I've known of, in all the years that I've been here is that we've only received KLJ.
Right.
You know, every once in a while they'll have if there's a project coming up for the next year, they'll bring in a contract or an agreement to sign that, okay, now we're kind of promising that KLJ will do, but I don't know as far as the construction portion of the engineering.
But
I think there was an agreement, you know, with them to go ahead and draw up all the plans, draw up all the, try to, they did all the communication between the states, whatever, as far as the House Bill 1350, and setting up the plan, you know, for our federal aid money that we get, the taxes we take in, and then the share from the federal to do like our chip seal project. They helped set up the schedule, you know, to do those projected projects. But then each time we do a special project, then there's always another contract.
And I guess that's the question, whether or not at the time those contracts were signed, were they bid competitively? What was there notification given, or did we just, because we used them before, did we just follow into another contract? And so at the start of that contract, was that arrived at correctly? And that's...
Yeah. Right. And I can't answer that.
Well, and
No, I figured there's probably an answer to the question. I was hoping he could answer
I
it.
guess I haven't run into that before in that situation.
And it has to be addressed now that the question's been asked.
Certainly, understand.
Yep.
Okay. We will know the answer at the next meeting.
I sent out an email to a month ago I brought forward to the commissioners a request to get an increase in pay for county road
Back up
department.
more, Wayne, because he never okayed it. Bring it up.
I know, but I sent it out to them, and I talked to one of the commissioners, and just thought I should bring it up. I requested a $2 across the board increase for all Bridges County Road Department employees. And it was my duty as the department head for those guys to try to get an increase in their salaries. And it compares Nelson and Steele County comparatively, and I said to my guys that I would try to do what I could do to try to prevent any more people of leaving employment of Bridges County. So I did send a letter out to all the commissioners with the first 4 months of salary paid out, the next 8 months if it were to be increased, which, you know, and then the full 2014 proposed salary that we were going to get for Craig and Chris.
Well, just as a point of order, it's not on the agenda. And so I just want to point out, it's not on the agenda for us to talk about, so it's up to Troy.
Well, I request to put it on the agenda then for the next meeting.
We can do that.
Or you can just...
I didn't see the email, Wayne.
You didn't see the email?
I was busy. I didn't look at my email for a few days. I haven't been on my desk very often lately.
But I did bring it up to, there was 3 commissioners there at that time, and was asked to bring forth a proposal, and so I did.
I mean, I've seen it now, but I didn't see it before
Yeah.
the meeting.
But I requested it at the April 2nd meeting, and then it was just 3 commissioners were there.
No, I know that. I was one of them.
Yep, right. So, it's on the record.
So you'll make a request to add it to the next meeting?
That's what it
Cindy will
is.
put it on the next agenda.
Got your approval right there. Bring it up next time.
Okay?
I mean, I could have put it into the agenda, but there was enough time to do all that. There's many things going on. So.
Okay. Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks, Wayne.
I need those bids or copies of those gravel bids.
Okay, I'll get You need them right now, I'll give them to you.
No, not unless somebody asks.
Okay, I'll give them to you. And this one,
You can just copy them, email them.
Governance
Yeah, I will.
agency.
this one
Okay.
is the one that they're putting on hold.
Next thing on the agenda is payroll policy.
I gave you the page, it's on page 89.
Yep.
And I have issues with it. We need to have payroll be the last day of the month. We have what is an account number, and it's called deduction. And if we don't clear it out, it's really hard to balance because it's a negative, it's opposite of what our book shows up. And so all I'd like to do is if you guys can make a motion that I pay them on the last day of the month and have it changed in the policy.
When are we,
Right now it's for
when are
the
we paying
first.
them now? Oh, we're paying them first, so you want
We're
it,
paying on the first. I just need to change it to the last day of the month.
right, so it carries, so it closes out the books for that month and carries
And
forward
year.
as, yep, yep. Got it.
Sounds reasonable to me.
So I'll make put forward a motion that we change the payroll date from the first day of the month to the last day of the month to facilitate ease of bookkeeping.
Been moved that payroll be moved from the first day of the month to the last day of the month to facilitate the payroll accounting software, apparently.
Yes.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll move the second.
Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to revisit the minutes portion of the meeting.
Okay.
And I would like to call on our state's attorney. He wasn't here at the time of the reading of the minutes, and he has some issues with that, I understand.
Yeah, I do. I would pull up in the email. I think there needs to be a correction as far as where minutes are come from me. I don't think I need to be stated that I admitted that I went out to Bismarck. I think I just flat out stated I went out to Bismarck. I didn't take it as admission. I stated I went out to Bismarck. Also, I think it needs to be added in there that I defined what an open meeting was, or what a meeting was, what it took to have a meeting, and defined the open and said it was part of open records and it wasn't a meeting, and it wasn't a violation of open meetings laws because there wasn't a meeting. There wasn't a meeting between Dale or I, and there wasn't a meeting between. There was conversation, but there was no meeting because under the definition of the Century Code, there wasn't a meeting. It requires 3 commissioners to have a meeting. And there was 1 commissioner, myself, that spoke, and 1 other elected official that spoke, so there was no meeting in there. And I think that the public needs to be aware of that.
It's in the first part, right?
There's a second part of my number.
Oh, Now, is this whole thing null and void then?
Did you bring a restatement of the?
I didn't, in fact, read the minutes right before I took off from Dakota. And then I didn't see the post period today at 11:30, so I didn't get the minutes before I took off. I think what should be added, if Cindy can write it down or pick up the recording, is that that State's Attorney Jamie Tennyson defined a meeting as requiring 3 individuals and 3 commissioners to speak on a subject, and that according to me, based on the Century Code, that it was not a violation of open meetings laws, and that any correspondence should be subject to open records, but it wasn't a meeting, it should not have been construed as a meeting.
Also, in regard to the Ron Dahl, I think you should probably clarify that Ron Dahl visiting with you is not conducting secret business of the county.
Right. I agree. I agree that.
That's a.
And we did talk about that in the meeting. I think it should be stated that conversations between one commissioner and any conversations between Ron Dahl and myself isn't a secret meeting. It's a conversation between 2 individuals and not action of this, not county business, because it doesn't fall under a meeting, under the open meeting.
One commissioner cannot conduct business.
Right.
Yeah, and that is referred to in the minutes here. John Wakefield wanted clarification on whether the commission was involved in this allegation, reference to North Dakota Century Code 11.1601 on the duties of the state's attorney. Commissioner Ron Dahl has every right to consult the state's attorney on his duties.
Okay.
So that was stated in the minutes.
So what actually do you want changed to the minutes?
Well, I think you wanted the word admitted to be changed to stated.
I think that admitted should be changed to stated, because I didn't admit to anything. I simply said I went off to the meeting.
Mr. Chairman?
That seems to me that I'm admitting to an allegation of that I did something wrong, and I didn't do anything wrong in the situation.
I'd like to make a motion that the state's attorney submit in writing his proposed change to the minutes for our preview next meeting, and we hold off publishing these minutes until a set time.
Who made the motion to approve these minutes? I think we should just rescind the motion.
Well, let's amend the minutes.
Yeah, but we have to rescind the motion to approve first, I think.
I think you made the motion, Sean. But does the same person have to make the motion to rescind that made the original motion?
Okay, hold on.
I believe so. I think the same person that makes the motion has to rescind that.
Okay. I'm not positive. I thought it was Sean that made the original motion.
Okay. Sean made the motion, seconded by Dale.
And then I'd move to rescind the approval of the April 17th minutes.
John has moved to rescind his motion of approval of the minutes of the April 17th Commissioners meeting. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll move the second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I guess I would ask Jamie if you prepare what do you think would be a more accurate description of that exchange, and present it to Cindy, and you can email it to the rest of us so we can review it before the next meeting.
I will do that. I'll get on that later this weekend.
Okay.
Chairman.
John?
Now we need to revisit the elections portion of this. Cindy, this is my fault. Cindy told me that we needed a change and I didn't see the change, and so now I need to fix what I screwed up the first time.
Thanks Cindy for bringing that a bigger stick the second time she asked.
Yeah, this has to do with the resolution for combining the offices. And it's just a small change, but the Board of Griggs County Commissioners has seen the need to improve the cost effectiveness and efficiency of combining the offices of County Auditor and of County Treasurer into one effective office. And it reads, to take effect upon the retirement of the current County Auditor or April 1st, 2015. We need to remove upon the retirement of the current County Auditor. So it will read, to take into one elected office to take effect April 1st, 2015. So I make a motion that we amend the resolution as read.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded that the resolution concerning the combining of the treasurer and the auditor's office be amended as John stated. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Letter from the judge in response to Ron Halverson's letter. Me, I don't know how he got this letter, but
Superintendent of schools?
oh, superintendent of schools, I'm sorry, I skipped one.
Superintendent of schools is appointed by the commissioners. Jan Tennyson was appointed. She is still superintendent of schools as far as I know, and I don't know what to do with it, or she was paid, I think, $25 a month, and right now she hasn't been paid. I don't know if it affects her retirement or not, because it goes down to part-time, and if she would have to refill out retirement forms, or what to do with it.
$25.
Yeah.
Do we have to have one?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we
You
do.
can ask Jamie if you want, but I think you do.
No, it's in the century code.
Yeah, can I ask Jamie what the role is of the superintendent of schools? Are you familiar with what the duties are and
It's
everything?
defined by the century code, and I couldn't tell you offhand, but it depends. Some counties have Nelson County has a part-time emergency manager and part-time superintendent of schools. She's really active, and other places don't have one that really plays much of a role. I think they're more active if there's two or more schools in the district.
County.
But I don't think Griggs County was very active in what was going on, but I know Nelson County had one that's active. She participates in the spelling bee and math counts and close-up, and they do safety drills, and I suppose that's part of her DES position too, but I know that Nelson County Superintendent of Schools has been way more active than what the Griggs County position was.
Did you find what their duties are? Okay.
No, yeah.
You want to just put it on hold and have Jan come and see you, or what do you want to do?
Well, I'm wondering what the official duties are for the superintendent of schools, and so if that person has been doing them, and just to make sure we're complying with
Well,
everything.
can we just table this until the next meeting, and so we can do a little research?
Yeah, that's what I
Brought
would
up
like to
because
do.
something needs to be done.
Right.
I found it in the century code, it's 15.1.1104. The duties state that the superintendent of schools serves as the superintendent of all schools in the county except those schools and districts that employ district superintendent of schools. So in this situation, there's a superintendent in both districts. They don't do that. Receive copies of Of and review in a timely manner all reports submitted to the superintendent of public instruction by school districts having their administrative headquarters in the county. Compile reports containing statistics and any other information requested by the superintendent of public instruction and forward the reports at the time and in the manner directed by the superintendent of public instruction. If requested by a school district, assist in planning, coordinating, and providing education and related services. Promote coordination and cooperation among the school districts and multi-district special education units within the county. Assist school districts in taking advantage of incentive programs administered by the superintendent of public instruction. As a secretary of the county committee, provide the public information regarding the annexation of property to another school district. Provide the public all forms necessary for the annexation of property to another school district. Compile information regarding school district annexations and dissolutions, and provide such information to the appropriate county committees at the time and in manner directed by the State Board of Public School Education, and compile information regarding school district annexations, reorganizations, dissolutions, and provide such information to the State Board of Public Education at the time and manner directed by the State Board, and perform any other duties required by law.
Ours hasn't been doing much, but
We-
there's some stuff, reports.
We don't need one,
School district has
seen-
superintendents.
Right.
I don't necessarily think that we need one.
No, that's what it says.
By law, you have to have someone that's stated that they are.
I thought it said in the
position.
century code that you may.
He read
Is
it,
it
as long, if we didn't have a stated superintendent for the school, for the two schools in place, we would have to, but we that
Yeah,
we
since
do.
there's a superintendent of both schools, it
Right,
states that we don't need one.
that's the way I read it,
This is from the country school days.
yeah.
Right.
Whatever you want to do with it.
Tell company's got it.
Connie?
I don't know about whether you have to have one, but one of my duties as treasurer is to give an annual school report to the county superintendent of schools. So if there isn't one, I don't know where my reports go.
We have a school file though that you could put it in there. I mean,
And I know that Jan also took care of all the old school records that we have. We have a lot of people that came in, and I know she sent some of those to the Historical Society when they were here. I don't know if all of them went or not. So there is research to be done.
So when you send something to the Historical Society and somebody wants it, or wants to see it, can they find it out there? Or is it in a, so it's
Just refer them to.
it's cataloged and
Yeah.
you can still go back and find it? It's not in cold storage someplace?
They have it all.
right now, most of the records are down in the tax director's office. In the back safe.
Here? Oh, okay. Before they're sent to Bismarck or anything.
And I don't know how much she sent. I know some were sent. I don't know if they were all sent. Because I haven't looked at
Sent to Bismarck.
Bismarck when they were here this,
Okay.
was it last spring?
Yeah, they took some, I think they took up to 1925 for our records, so I don't think they want to make them.
Oh, you didn't have them. It's just tape out, so.
Oh, okay. So the county collects school data still or not?
No, I don't know when the last year down there is, but I know we haven't for several years.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Sad day, but I'm wrong twice in one meeting. 11-10-10.5, and it says, the Board of County Commissioners shall employ a county superintendent of schools as provided for in section 15.1, 11.01, or assign the duties of the county superintendent of schools as provided for in section 15.1, 11.02. So we either have one or we assign it to one of the other superintendents within the system. The way it looks, right, Jamie?
Yeah.
That's
And
the way,
shall-
that's,
shall is an imperative word, so.
but it gives you the ability to assign it to one of the other superintendents, because it's covered in 15.1, 11.01, and 15.1, 11.02. So,
You're gonna table it till the next meeting then, or what?
we're gonna have to assign somebody, whether it be one of those two or an independent third person, it doesn't matter.
Well, it sounds like the only thing that's getting done in the county to that effect, Connie's already doing it. Right?
Well, I'm doing my job and giving it to whoever.
Right, but I mean, they don't take it to the school board and present it, do they? You just mail it to them?
And I don't know if they, in the past, sent those to the state DPI, or I don't know what happened to it.
One of the reasons why I came up is because I got an email requesting who our superintendent of schools was, for probably information.
You mean old stuff?
No, just to be on record that that's who our superintendent of school is for requesting information or whatever.
They're just looking for a contact.
And that came from the state.
I think we can table it for 2 weeks, can't we? Then we can all
Absolutely.
do a little bit more research on it.
Mhm.
We have a motion on the table.
No, I will move that we table the issue for 2 weeks and put it on next meeting's agenda.
Ron has moved that this subject, or the appointment of the county superintendent of schools be tabled till the next meeting. Is there a second to the motion?
Move the second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Did you guys get a chance to read this letter? I got it in the mail and gave it to Cindy. Regarding, it's the response to the letter that Ron Halverson wrote to us regarding the interactive video equipment for the new courthouse. Apparently, Ron is either ill-informed or detached from the truth in some manner.
This is from,
You
oh,
want,
hold it, okay.
you want it read, or?
No, I just entered into the minutes.
Okay.
So he's basically saying that no matter what happens with the video equipment, he will continue to hold court in Griggs County no matter what.
That is correct.
Yeah.
You know, with that said, he is an advocate
Yeah.
because of the ease of holding hearings and stuff remotely,
Right.
but
And then I think he mentions a cost saving possibly to the citizens by not having to travel to Jamestown where he could do it remotely on a few of the things. Nevertheless, we acted on incorrect information when we acted on this last time.
Well,
The reason that we decided to go ahead of it, or I did anyway, was because I was under the assumption that the judge wasn't gonna come here if we didn't do it.
so. Knowing that Ronnie would not misinform us on purpose, I would assume that whoever his source was gave him bad information.
Safe to assume the source wasn't the judge.
The other thing under this line item is that short note from Miss Holloway.
I think this is a letter you're signing to her, isn't it?
Oh, you're right. It's from me, sorry.
On the courtroom ground.
What's that now?
Page 92, I guess.
This is a cover letter, Kelly, for the courtroom grant?
Yep, it's I have to do a 60-day compliance.
Sorry, that was a while on.
The original should have been, but I don't know where.
You think Sally wants one with a page number on it?
No.
I think I have the one you're supposed to have.
Is it down there?
Getting stripped of your duties.
Can we have it?
Does it have a page number on it?
It's a crispy one. We don't need to act on this, we already did, right?
Well, what this is it's just a 60-day compliance. We have to just inform them on the progress of our project.
Okay.
So I chose 60 days for completion. I'm not sure what to choose. So,
Well,
you know, I
you know,
stated we're about 90% complete, and you know, we anticipate at least completed within 60 days. We have to have the project completed within 180 days. So, from the time, I don't know if it was the time that we were awarded or by the time that we accepted.
and they're talking about this portion of the project. The funds need to be expended, right? That's what they're talking about.
Yeah, everything has to be completed by that 180 and 180 days and into them. So this is just giving them a little progress report on status of the project.
So what happens if this grant continues to blow up and we never get to finish the courthouse?
I don't know. We'll have to check into that.
Well, will this portion of the project will still get completed? Not? So we will fulfill the requirements of this particular grant.
Well, the courtroom would have to be, everything included in that grant would have to be completed. All the finishes are completed, so judges' benches are completed. So,
Isn't that in here? That's part of this grant, isn't it?
yeah, yep.
So it will be.
We'll hopefully, eventually.
You follow?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it won't be completed if no one comes back to work on the project. What you're saying is this won't get completed.
Okay.
But we assume someone's coming back to work on the.
There's no
Yeah.
way they'll work just on that and get reimbursed on that?
Well, let's deal with that. Let's deal with that when we know the long-term prospects for the project here.
Okay.
Because we're just speculating now.
Okay, are you guys comfortable with the terms of this status letter?
Well, could you inquire as to an extension? Given the I mean, just put forth the premise that we might need an extension on this because of the circumstances and see what they say.
Yeah, do you still want to send a 60-day? It's just basically talking about.
I mean, the grant could get reimbursed on Monday. We don't know.
Right.
Yeah, that's where, I mean, it's just saying we anticipate that all installation work will be completed. Well, I
Unless
guess
somebody
we're-
else knows and they ain't saying.
Yeah.
No, we need to move forward as if the grant funds are coming. We
Yeah, that's
can't be.
what I was kind of thinking, so I think we should send in this letter.
And I would just like to speak on the letter that was written by the building authority, is that I did not have a hand in composing that letter. And I was the one that pushed it out to the judge, for the simple fact that I thought that there were some statements in there that involved him. And I just wanted him to have an opportunity to respond to that letter.
Okay.
That's why-
I didn't know how he'd gotten it. I certainly
Yeah.
didn't send it to him.
Yep, I just felt that there were some things that weren't exactly correct, stated correctly in the letter, so I wanted him to have an opportunity to respond to that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. we need a motion for me to sign this?
Yes, so it'd be nice to have it on record.
Guess if we're gonna move forward with this, I would entertain a motion to that effect.
Would it hurt, Kelly, if they waited till the next meeting, if you find out if you can get an
My
extension?
60-day is May 7th, because
Okay.
I believe that letter was signed March 7th, that you accepted, you signed to accept the grant. I think it was March 7th.
I think we can still fit in these parameters if things start going our direction.
Well, I think Ron's right. He said, we anticipate that all installations, so I mean, it's not, we're not guaranteeing it.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
There's nothing false in this letter.
No.
No, yeah, that's what I think, so.
Not as we stand. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we are, I think we're beyond 90% completion, so.
That's true.
I'd move we sign and forward the progress of our project letter.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next thing on the agenda is some abatements.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, I read through them
These
before.
need to be done individually.
Yep.
First one is for Bernard and Genevieve Zemprick up in Cairo Township.
I move that we accept the abatement as presented.
Been moved that we accept the abatement as presented. You want a property ID number on it?
Yeah, if you can give me a number, each one you do, really appreciate
But there's
it.
two separate ones for them, I think.
It'd be like 21 or 19 at the top.
Oh, excuse me.
See here,
Troy.
this 09.
There's
This
two,
number here
there's
for
two,
whichever's
there's
first
two
one.
different sections of land for Bernard and Genevieve.
So that's what I mean, you have to do them individually.
Okay.
There's
I only-
a whole, you have a whole pile of
Alright,
it.
yeah.
I only have one, but
Oh, do you? Okay, it's about 4 pages back or something. Page 93 and 97.
Yeah, your abatements run from page 93 to 121,
okay.
and there's like 3 pages for each.
Yeah.
Okay. So I move that we accept the abatement for the southwest of section 4 is 4-147-59. It's for a quarter.
Supposed to be 1/4.
Yeah, 160 acres.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded, accept the abatement for refund of taxes on southwest quarter, section 4, township 147, range 59. Is there any discussion on the motion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Dale? Aye. John?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Next abatement is the west one half of the southeast quarter and the west half of the northwest quarter, section 4, township 147, range 59.
I move we accept that abatement.
Move second.
Been moved and seconded to accept this abatement. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Dale? Aye. John?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. This next one has a long land description, so I'm gonna use the property.
Well, that's
ID.
why if you would just
Yep,
use
yep,
the
yep.
ID and all of them, it'd save.
All right.
I'd appreciate it, please.
Golding accepted.
That's a pretty long ID number.
Can I just use that 3513 number?
You can do that.
Okay. Property ID number is 15-000-03513-000.
The only numbers you really have to read are this and the last 3. This one and this one. Because this could be a 10 or a 15 or,
All right.
okay?
Yep.
On 300 acres, why did it get modified?
I move to accept the abatement
These
for
other
such
ones.
red property ID number.
Is there a second to the motion?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Seconded by Ron, is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Dale?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye, motion carries. Next parcel is 3514-000. It is in Willow Township.
I move to accept the application for abatement to refund the taxes on such mentioned property ID.
If you want, you can always say what the abatement is for right here.
Oh, sure. This abatement is for cropland change to non-crop. Unable to farm. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Ron, is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All Dale?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye, motion carries. The next parcel is ID number 3517-000. The reason for the abatement is a modifier for rocks. Which I didn't even know rocks could be a modifier.
Which one are you on here?
Page 107.
3517.
Page 107. I mean, most of these have rocks for a modifier, but.
I don't know if there's still a certain amount of rocks, yeah. Rocks is one of the modifiers, tree lines, water, salinity. I don't know what the others are.
Huh. So I'd entertain a motion on this, to approve this abatement.
Yeah, I'll move that we accept the abatement on Particle 3517.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by John. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Dale?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean? Aye. Troy votes aye. Motion carries. The next parcel is ID number 3524-000, also a modifier for rocks. Anybody want to take a stab at this one?
Told you you had a lot this time.
We can't just do all of these at once.
We only got a couple left.
Okay.
I move to accept the abatement for refund of taxes
Yeah, like-
on property ID 03524.
I'll second that motion.
Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Dale? John?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Next property ID number is 3525-000, and it also has a modifier for rocks.
I move to accept the abatement for refund of taxes on property ID 03525.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by John. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Dale?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Next ID number is 3526-000. Also rock as a modifier.
I'll move to accept the abatement for refund of taxes on property ID 03526.
Motion by Sean to accept this abatement. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. Dale? Aye. John?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. One last parcel.
That's good.
3529-000.
I'll move to accept the abatement of refund for taxes on property ID 03529.
We have rocks too.
Modifiers rock.
Rocks.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Second by
By
John.
John.
Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Dale?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Wellness program.
Okay, we need to, on the wellness program, you saved 1% on all health insurance premiums. It used to be like $1,200 a year, I think, when we figured it. So I need permission for you to sign it, or for I to sign it. Which one is that on?
123. Oh, 122, I gave him my.
You have to sign the card.
Hostile takeover.
So what does this all entail?
You just save 1% on our health insurance premiums. That's it.
Just saying you're gonna quit
Encouraging
smoking?
employees to have fun.
But it's a wellness program, you do certain things, we have the flu shot.
You're the wellness coordinator?
That's what we need, a wellness coordinator.
Oh,
And I would like it just to be the office, but I don't know if they'll allow us to do that. Because what they want is, because they email wellness stuff out once a month
to the auditor.
to whoever the coordinator is, and then they email it out to those that are on the health insurance.
Yeah, I think it should be the auditor if it's allowed myself, but,
Well, it makes sense. It'd be the payroll person there to have the most communication with the whole employee group.
Okay, so part of this is appointing a wellness coordinator and then also saying that you want us to go into this, do this wellness.
Haven't you done it in the past?
Yes, we do it every year.
Okay.
in the past, has it been your name or has it been the auditor's office?
No, it was Jan's.
Or Jan's in the past,
Yeah, it was
okay.
Jan's.
Ron pointed out it's got to be a pretty cheery person because we're encouraging the employees to have fun.
So that's not me.
No.
Well, who else will do that then?
That's the problem, I don't think it matters. You're gonna have to appoint somebody.
Okay.
And they do need the paperwork in, so that's why it's on their list to get done.
See you later. 2 seconds.
10th or
So,
something.
if you want-
cost on this thing?
The second
No,
Tuesday.
we save 1%
Yeah, I know,
on the
but
premiums.
you have to do
I think
something
it's the
to
second
say that,
Tuesday. I
right?
thought that was the Tuesday.
They actually pay us another amount of money if you get all the paperwork done and you can get the flu shots paid for, you can
Okay.
get the other programs that you put on paid for. The only thing is
They're
you
not.
designate a little
Maybe
bit of
they-
time
it
of
is.
your
No,
employees
that's
to
a
go
Monday,
to this
yeah.
wellness program.
Oh, that's the only cost.
That's the cost.
Okay. Well, I'd entertain a motion that we approve this wellness program and appoint Cindy Antone is the coordinator. You do that.
I'll make the motion as stated.
Is there a second?
Move to second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Can we make just a little, I should have done that during the discussion. If they allow it, just to put it on the auditor's office, so no matter who's in there, that they can do it instead of putting it under a name.
Might as well leave it to you until we find out what happens to the office.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're gonna have to change it again anyway, right?
Right. That's true. And now I'm going to leave, and I'm gonna have Debbie come up, so you just have a courthouse. Do I need to? I need to go and get some applications out, so.
These next two letters, John, did you put this stuff in here?
It actually was forwarded, where we're at.
Page 123. We're under new courthouse now.
123. Yeah, this, I was contacted by the director of the DES concerning a report that was due, and I just forwarded the information that they sent to me to Cindy to be sent to the county commissioners and Bob Hook, and I don't know if I said Jamie or not, but anyway, it was about 40 pages, and within 2 hours Bob called me and said that he had fixed the problem and the report had been filed.
That's a report that's done by the South Central Regional Council, and Deb had someone else do it, and then they forwarded me. We got that pretty well.
Yeah, it was 2 hours after I forwarded to Cindy that Bob got back to me and
Done.
it was done, and I just wanted it in here to make sure that Bob could say, come here and tell us that he'd done it, and so it cleared up whatever it is.
Yep.
Yeah. But I do have a question on the grant itself. It was awarded March 26th, 2013. I don't suppose it made it on the budget somewhere, did it?
The what? The grant?
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't have been 13.
Yeah, look right here. It was awarded March 26, 2013 award. So it should have been involved in the budget negotiations in October, and it should have been in the budget for 2014 as a line item on the revenue side. We're right back in the same damn position we keep getting in, where we've got grant funds coming in and they're not set up in the budget. We're gonna have to make up a checklist for this, or what are we gonna do?
Connie.
Well, the 2013 budget is set October 10th, 2012, and if this grant wasn't given until March.
It was awarded in March of 2013, so it should have made it into the October budget negotiations. It should have been showed up in the 2004, right, it should show up in the 2014 budget,
Right.
which it doesn't.
I thought you meant.
No, because we haven't. It has to get into the following year's budget so that we don't run into the same problems we always run into. We need to pay it out in order to be reimbursed, but we can't pay it out because it's not in the revenue side of the budget.
It seems like every grant that we've run into this same situation.
Have they ever been done right? I mean, every one that we've seen since we got on the commission is not done correctly.
Since I've been at DS, when I've gotten grants, a lot of those come in after budget time, and that's just how they get handled. That's how I bring them to the commission, that's how they get handled. Now, whether that's right or wrong, we'll have to change that at this point forward. But some of those budgets, there's no way of knowing, because those grants, they come up after the budgets have been awarded. Like right now, there's two coming down the pipe right now that we had no clue about 2 weeks ago. So I don't know how we're gonna handle those, but to not utilize some of those grants would be senseless and insolent too at times. So I don't know how we should
how we would address that. If there's, you guys have ideas this next budget round, I'll be happy to work with you on that.
Well, I know how it was handled in the past, because the county had excess funds that were not budgeted for. That is no longer the case.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not arguing with that, Troy. That's just the way it's been done since I've been here. It's never been, no one's ever asked me to do anything different. I've never been asked to bring that to a budget cycle.
But the
And
only.
I've asked that question myself.
But those notwithstanding, the ones that come up that you don't know about, the ones that you do know about, like the courthouse grant,
This one.
the courtroom grant, this grant, the radios. Doesn't anybody know the process?
Like I just said, Troy, I'll tell you, you guys have brought this to light. I've never been asked to do
Okay.
this. I've never been asked.
So that-
I mean, I'm through with that conversation.
Okay.
We've been through this 4 times. You know, from this point forward, next budget round, I'll be happy to do whatever we're gonna do with that. I asked last budget round to increase my one budget by $8,000 to cover this DOT overtime that comes to us. And I've sold notice with your budget the way it is. So,
Yeah,
I
but-
don't make the final decisions on those.
Yeah, well, this isn't the decision process
Yep.
on this. This is just, you put it on the revenue side so that you expense it out on the other side.
And I totally
And,
agree.
and your scenario only takes place where you have a grant that's awarded and paid out in the same budget year, which doesn't happen very often. So it does, but not very often. Because it would have to be done within a period of then 9 months, and that's, so, this one, for instance, could have easily been put on in 2014. It wasn't, and it's water under the bridge, but all offices need to be aware that when they present a budget, they're responsible for just that, the budget. All funds coming in or going out.
See, in the past, there was a line item in DBS for grants, and that's where those funds were taken out and redeposited into that grant account once the money came back down. So how we're going from today forward, whatever it takes, we'll do that. I can't change the way I was told to do it in the past, so.
But I think on this one, being it does not involve change of mill levy, I think we need to adjust the budget accordingly.
Well, I think the budget can be amended as long
That's
as
right.
As long as it doesn't change the mill levy. But it just puts a lot more work on us and the auditors. But
Oh, well, then we'll just leave it and deal with this one as it comes forward, but it can only be amended to the point that the money's there. You know, it can't be amended past the $29,000 or whatever we have excess in the budget, so we don't have much room.
Gretchen, you gotta raise your hand higher, because Jamie's a big dude.
Isn't there a procedure?
Yeah,
I
there's,
mean, normally, there's procedure that is followed. And that's approved by, your governing board. All accounting, there is procedure.
that's what we're talking about.
Exactly.
It's
So
supposed to be
hasn't
in the
there been
budget.
procedure in the past, that is a written procedure that everybody that handles.
Well, it's in the century code. It just, that's not the way it was handled in the past, because the county typically had funds that weren't budgeted for. So they were projecting surplus at the end of the year. So they would use those funds to pay for a grant or whatever, and then when it got reimbursed, it went back into that same general fund. So it worked, but now the last budget cycle, when the previous commissioners approved the budget for 2014 that included a carryout at the end of 2014 of like $27,000 or something, and hadn't budgeted for any of the new costs of operating the new courthouse, we knew we were gonna be in a jam. So we can't really spend that money. It just, the math just, well, it doesn't work very well right now. You just can't do that.
At this point, Troy, has there been a determination of what that jam is cost-wise? We keep hearing about jam, but is there a determination on it?
Well, based on the budget, I don't know, it depends on what the operating costs of the courthouse will be. I don't, it doesn't appear that there was anything budgeted for, and I don't know what those costs will be, I guess,
For what?
to operate the new courthouse.
No, but we don't, and
But I can tell you it'll be more than that 29,000 or 27,000 or whatever they outlay left in the budget, or what's not budgeted for, I should say.
There's involved in that are a lot of different things. It's the heating, it's the cooling, it's the insurance. The insurance is gonna run anywhere from.
Cindy hasn't, I don't know if Cindy has found anybody that will insure it.
That's right, that's a problem. But back to your question about, yes, there is procedure. The problem has been, there's been no penalty for not following the procedure. So if you have a procedure and there's no penalty for not doing it, what happens is it doesn't get done.
That's what I'm
Right.
trying to John.
Okay. But I don't think there needs to be a penalty. I think it's more an awareness problem, that if everybody's aware of it, I think in order not to cause all these problems that we have, that I think everybody will do it. I assume.
So, as a department head, we have to work on the system that we were given to work under, and that's the system how it was at that time.
Right.
So if we're gonna change it for this coming season, I'm all for that.
Well, we're not changing it. It was always been the way, it's always been the correct
Right, I mean,
way. It just hasn't been done correctly.
Get back on track how
Yeah.
it should be done.
It's in the Century Code, it's not a secret document.
No.
The next letter anyway here I have under new courthouse, this is the failure to perform on this, $178,000. They're pulling out today.
That's the letter. They're leaving at the end of the day, they're coming back.
Do you know anything, Connie, of additional information?
I can tell you as of yesterday what,
You talked to John Ike.
I talked to John Eichhoff yesterday because I told him when he'd called me previously that I would call him a day before they were gonna leave and let him know whether or not the funds had come through. So I called him and I told him the funds had not. I called Connie and then I called John. And John said that as of now, he didn't want to leave, but he didn't have any choice. That was his only option that was open. And then because of this media showing up today, I called and talked to Ron Halverson just to make sure that we were on the same page. Ron told me that the building authority has spent every last dime they are able to spend on this project. That what they've left in reserve is for the FF&E. And that he was also under the impression that if the subcontractors weren't paid, that was the construction engineer's responsibility. The claim that a subcontractor hadn't been paid from December can't be correct because the construction engineers has been paid up to mid-April approximately, Connie? Right. So if that is an issue, if that was an issue, and the media thought it was, that is something to do with construction engineers.
The reason that they were here today is because a mechanical contractor called them and told them they hadn't been paid, right?
Correct, since December. So that very well might be the case. I don't know, but that is not contractually, that is construction engineers' problem, not ours. But of course, construction engineers has a problem with both us and the building authority because as of now, we are delinquent. And talking with Ron as a chairman of the building authority, I asked him what the options were, and he said they have none. They have written it right to the penny of what they can spend, and they have no additional resources to tap. And the resources we have are dependent on this grant. So that's where it stands. There's
And basically, the response from DS is they're working on it. You got my emails. I hate to even send them because you can see the tone change.
the tone is changing, yeah.
If there's anything else you got, I need to go out and play within 5 minutes.
On the new courthouse, I still had a question. Have you had any progress meetings on the office relocations?
Yes, we had a department head meeting Tuesday. And we questioned, because of the bond money, whether we can move social services in there, and we asked Jamie to look into that. And so we didn't really plan anything else because we didn't know the answer, so.
Okay.
Have you looked into it, Jamie? Or?
I have, and because of the lease, the county's not legal anyway. The lease is for the whole building, and 57, 15, 59 only allow us to tax for courtroom, and jail and law enforcement facilities. And the lease is for the whole building, so we're not in compliance with the law even with the lease. So with that said, if we can get the lease changed, I think we can move. If we can't get the lease changed, we're still in trouble.
Well,
So I don't think it really makes any difference.
It goes back to the whole problem. That's why we're having a problem with the grant, is because, one of the things is because of the lease. We're leasing basically property back from ourselves. But I don't think that we need to call attention to that right at this point. But you're right, if we're leasing the whole project, and if we're only supposed to be leasing the courtroom, corrections, and if that's all if that's all we can lease with that $2.2 million, we're in violation already.
And at some point, we're going to have to try to fix it, whether or not the bondholders are gonna allow us to fix it, that's for them to decide. But I don't know how to get around it, if I fix it.
I had, back when this whole thing was still rolling around in the public eye, and before ground even broke on it, I'm pretty sure I had Bill Devlin get a legislative assistant to research this, you know, as far as the exact language of that part of the code. And I think the way that they looked at it at the time was, yeah, it's narrow in its scope, but yeah, it's still county offices. We're not gonna get involved. I mean, that issue that you're talking about was brought up a long time ago.
Right. So then, according to that, if they're all county offices, I don't see any problem moving.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I don't think the Century Code is gonna, nobody's gonna step in front of this thing. Not at that level.
Well, except that the North Dakota DES has already instructed us that we need to fix that lease agreement.
But that's a separate issue.
No, that's the same issue.
Yeah, it's for the whole building.
That's an ownership issue.
Yeah, right, but it still goes back to the same issue, and it goes back to the reason that there was $297,000 paid before this project even started to try and straighten this out, because it was an issue right from the start. It's still an issue, and we don't want to make it more of an issue by having the argument that we can't combine or put other offices, change that around, using the premise that we'll be out of compliance with 57, 15, 59, and draw attention to that we're already way out of compliance with 57, 15, 59. So,
Connie.
If we know the lease is wrong, can't Jamie draft different wording for the lease that we can get approved and move forward?
The problem is the lease is the primary security instrument that's held at the Bank of North Dakota, and in order to change the lease, you have to involve the Bank of North Dakota and the bondholders. And the bondholders have nothing to gain by giving up some of their security.
True. But if they're aware that we need this change, you know, at least have something to present them.
We actually did send a letter to the building authority asking for the assistance to talk with Bank of North Dakota, and we haven't received a reply.
right, we asked the building authorities to do that, because they have we don't have the indenture of trust with Bank of North Dakota, the building authority does. So the building authority has to initiate this process, but it's minute that the bondholders or the Bank of North Dakota will allow the security interest to be relinquished. Why would they? Because as it stands right now, if this thing defaults, the bondholders still get paid. The tax levy is attached to it, so it's of no benefit and actually a deficit for the bondholders to allow their security interest to be relinquished.
Reduced, not relinquished.
Yeah. So, I mean, we got to try, and that's why we sent the letter to the building authority, because as county commissioners, we don't have any relationship with the Bank of North Dakota as far as this bond goes whatsoever, by design, because the citizen said no, so that's why it's into private hands.
And I would, if I were the building authority, I would make the argument that it is in the bondholders. I mean, I'm making an argument to the Bank of North Dakota and the bondholders. It is in the best interest of the bondholders to reduce their security interest in this, because it will enable the funding of the project. And with that said, either way, the taxpayers or the county are on the hook.
Yeah.
Because the lease is the repayment of the lease is what's called the general obligation of the county, and that's gonna happen no matter what.
Right, so that's what I mean. It doesn't make any difference. The minute the bonds were issued and the bonds were issued and rated, the bondholders were assured of repayment. Whether or not they amend this lease or not does not make their repayment any more certain. They're not enhancing their position by relinquishing part of their security.
They're not reducing it much either.
No, but the whole notion that we have a trustee in place is to enforce the security of those bonds, and that's why they use the Bank of North Dakota. And the Bank of North Dakota isn't going to reduce their reputation on account of this either. I wouldn't think. It just seems like an undoable thing. And if that is a prerequisite of this grant being paid to us, I think we're in serious trouble.
Gretchen, I got her hand up.
Gretchen.
So once again, it boils down to the fact that ultimately this is the taxpayers of Griggs County building. We do.
In 20 years.
We do carry the ultimate responsibility for this.
Always did.
The taxpayers are obligated, and I'm not a lawyer, Gretchen, but the taxpayers are obligated to pay back the $2.2 million. Whether or not the county board of commissioners had the authority to obligate the citizens for the $900,000 in that, or the $988,000 of that grant that may or may not materialize, I don't know that answer.
To put it in simple terms, the ex-county commissioners asked the citizens whether or not they could build this using taxpayer money. The citizens said no. The county commissioners said, we don't like that answer. Here's a loophole around it. Now you're obligated to the money and you don't have a say over it. That's how we ended up in this perverse situation. And everybody involved in it should be ashamed of themselves. So yes, your answer is we're just as much indebted to the repayment of this now as we would have been if we would have okayed it. The only difference is we said no 3 times.
I just want to clarify on the original issue, the office relocations are on hold until Jamie makes a determination. Is that correct?
Well, that's what they were on hold for.
Yeah.
But I think I did make a determination, and I think that we can go ahead with them. Because I guess as as Troy said, it's not as narrowly construed as we originally thought.
That's my recollection now.
If
Which-
you have any of that
I'm,
research?
I might have an old email, I wouldn't bet on it. No, I don't, because we just merged with Tolna and I killed all my deleted emails.
Well, I guess I'm still of the opinion that it's, I don't think it's gonna be that big a deal, because if we merge, because we're already, if we're not in compliance with the law, if we're not following the law, it's not gonna make any difference. It's either we are as a whole, or either we aren't as a whole, and either one, it doesn't make any difference what we do with the building, or how we set up the building.
Because right now we're making lease payments for the whole
For the
square
whole building.
footage anyway, right? In actuality, if you read the lease agreement, it refers back to the ground lease agreement. So we're actually making lease payments on the building we're sitting in that we already own.
Yeah, all of Block 5 was,
So because we leased this to the building authority, so we're leasing this building plus that building back from the building authority, is how the document reads.
does anybody have any, Connie?
Then we'll call another department head meeting and work on it some more.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep,
Bye.
Bob. Thanks, Bob.
Old courthouse, Ron, any new news?
No, nothing on the old courthouse.
Did you collect your $10 lease this year for income?
You lost me.
Well, you leased this courthouse to the building authority for $10. I was wondering if they paid their $10 lease.
Oh.
They don't have a penny. They don't have any money.
I think they did. I think I had a tab at the Oasis.
Anything else? I'll move we adjourn. The move that we adjourn? Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned at 3:55 p.m. Next meeting will be May 16th,
I think.
at 1 p.m.
Cindy was gonna give each one of you guys one of these.
I got one, thank you.
I think I.
Okay.
Because I asked you about that last time, didn't I?
I don't
If there was,
remember.
I got one.
I think I got one of those.
Well, then I wonder why she did it.
Well, I don't
Isn't
know.
this-
Unless it's revised.
It's the same thing, I think.
Well, I don't-
Ending 31st.
Looks.
Oh, this isn't what I was.
2, 4, 5, 8, 4, yeah, same figures.
that is-
Looks like, I don't know.
No, me either.
Do any of you need mileage vouchers? Yeah.
No, I don't.
Den burn back.
What's that?
The den burn back.
There you go.